Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear. Video? Good. All right. Thanks.
Double check.
Thanks.
Is that recording?
Thanks, Mr. Director. All right, guys. We're back for the first time in a very long time back in the Massenomics Studio here, both in audio and video. Howdy.
Hi.
And so we got a whole pile of people. I'll just pass it around here. I'm Tyler. Next to me,
Tommy.
Professor Schanz here, back, I think, for my third only podcast ever.
And I am his brother-in-law, and I'm here for my first podcast ever, Brian.
Tanner, and I'm here back for my 39th podcast ever.
something like that.
Several.
So basically, for the last 3 weeks, you've been hearing the podcast episodes from the whirlwind trip to California, and now we finally got everything back set up in the old Massenomics dungeon.
I'm not sure I remember how to even do this, Tyler.
I don't know
I'm
either.
like kind of nervous right now. Like, what's gonna happen? Or
What do we do with our
anything's
hands?
possible.
Where do my hands go?
Yeah. I remember to wear clothes. That was a win. But, so, I don't know. Tanner sounded like he came really prepared with a bunch of stuff.
I got a lot of good stuff.
I have something too, Tanner.
All right. So warning out there, if you're listening, keep listening. This is going to be a good one.
We have at least 4 talking points.
Don't change to cereal now. Keep listening.
Wait, I gotta ask, is this the most people you've had for a podcast before with 5?
No, we've had
tied.
like 36 in one night before.
True.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'd say, but no, this is probably the most we ever had. No?
No,
Yeah, it
even
is.
even
Tied.
Jonah.
No, Jonah's episode was...
You were there.
was
We had 6.
Yeah. It really pushes the
yeah.
boundaries of what we can do because
That's what we do, though. We push the boundaries of what
Push the technological boundaries of.
Because I run out of headphones is the main issue. So. I don't know if you could podcast with earbuds.
It wouldn't look as cool,
It's a really discreet option.
It would actually probably look a lot less silly, I think.
but it wouldn't have the
Or
podcast
even
logo.
one of those headsets that like the boy bands would wear back in the day that kind of comes around the front. And
Why
you
don't
can
people use those?
Here's the deal, actually. So the barbell shrug setup, they've got the headsets. They look kind of like yours, but they have a mic that comes around,
like
right?
an NFL coach.
Yeah, kind of. It looks like that. I would like to have that because at least for the sake of video, there's not all this stuff blocking our beautiful faces. But they're really, really, really silly expensive. So I started looking around though, and you can get one where it's a headset, and it's just this cute little. It's almost like a telemarketer's rig, and it's really discreet. But I suppose it's if you were like an R&B singer, it would be your go-to mic set. But it's also way more than what we're gonna spend.
Is it because it's endorsed by Neo, so you got to pay?
They're yes, I think so. It's Pitbull's brand.
I got something to kick us off a little bit. This thing is in my sack, but this is not officially what's in Tanner's sack.
You just have some
will
things
come
in
later.
your sack?
Yeah, there's multiple things in my sack today.
Definitely check out the video version for Tanner's sack.
But this is not what's in Tanner's sack.
I also like how you tied your bag up before you started. You didn't tie it as you brought it in. You just tied it up as we got
Would you
here.
say this is like a teaser to what will be coming later?
Yeah. Yeah, it's completely unrelated, but yeah, it's a teaser to what's coming later. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but Massenomics received a Christmas card.
Oh,
I don't know if I told any of you guys about that or not, but
I think Mary may have sent me.
I think I might have seen a snap too.
so it actually says to Tyler Stone and the Massenomics crew. And then it's addressed to my house.
See, the studio address is my house.
But I thought you guys lived together part of the time, though, don't you?
Well, that was actually part of why Tanner's wife messaged me because she didn't know if she missed the heads up that I was moving in.
And it's a postcard from Steve Wilk, who's a pretty loyal Massenomics fan, and
From the great state of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. He said to the Massenomics crew.
You gotta read what's on the front first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually a good part. Feliz Navidad, bichachos.
Could you translate that for me? I don't know any of that.
Your Spanish is
Feliz
exquisite.
Navidad, bitches.
Okay.
Happy holidays to you all. Keep the podcast rolling, and may there be many more. Stay warm up there, Steve. And P.S. You guys have the best podcast I've ever heard, and anyone that doesn't listen to this should be listening to it now. And I'll pass that around for you all to see it.
That's pretty amazing.
That last part may or may not have been fictional.
I don't know what gave it away.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool. Steve has been a pretty...
He's been very loyal.
yeah,
Steve.
he's been a loyal listener.
Yep.
Is this the original piece of fan mail, the first one?
Yeah.
Should we frame that?
We probably can't frame all the other stuff that's been sliding into our DMs, but yeah, that's probably the most family-friendly one we've got.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we got, Tanner? Tommy, you guys are the only ones that prepared for this.
You know,
so.
I had this kind of interesting. It was last Friday, right before Christmas, and like anybody else, I want to make my way to the gym. And I typically work until 5, but being that it's before Christmas, everyone's bailing out of work early. So being the great employee I am, I stuck around until 4:30, which was much later than most. And all excited to get to the gym early. So I get home, like 4:45-ish, and it's like, I'm going to get an awesome jump start on this and be out because I had some stuff to do that night, like a little get-together, a little boozing with the friends, and about to leave, and then my girlfriend called, and she said we have to pick up the house before people come over. So fair enough. We had actually opened presents the night before, so it was a total mess from that. So about a half hour cleaning up presents, a little delay, no big deal. I'm finally out the door to go to the gym. It's about 5:30, which is getting close to my regular time anyways. So I'm heading down the road, all excited, and I see a car coming towards me, and I see another car crossing the road, and I'm just thinking, they're timing that up really close. And then the pickup driver totally T-bones the car. I'm like, yeah, really? So I pull up, and the car's facing the other direction, and I roll down my window. I'm like, you guys okay? They're like, yeah, but can you stick around to be a witness? I'm like, sure. So then I sit and wait for the cops to come, and the cop has to interview one person, then the other person, and tell me that my time will come. And so I wait a little longer. Finally, he interviews me, asks the important questions like, am I on probation, or do I have any warrants out for my arrest? Which luckily I didn't. So then finally that goes down, and I'm about to head on my way, and because we live in Aberdeen, there's a train. So, and at that point, I couldn't wait any longer, so I had to drive all the way around to the bridge, which of course means the train is gone by that time. And so my quick night to the gym only took me 2 hours to get there by the time it was all said and done, which was really awesome way to start the night.
So if you would have just left your job early like you should have,
yeah,
none of this would have been your problem.
Yeah, moral of the story, just don't be loyal to any place you work.
And if you witness a car accident, just fucking
just
go.
drive away. Just drive away.
Keep your eyes closed.
Maybe they shouldn't have got hit by a car.
Yeah. Don't hold up.
Did it negatively affect your lift in any way? That's probably the most important thing.
Mentally, I was like kind of getting really frustrated because it had taken so long at that point. But in the end, it ended up being an okay night.
No real loss then.
Trials and tribulations, it's...
It ain't easy. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Tanner, what
I
else
thought
you got in
that's
your
all- I thought
laundry
that's
list?
all I wanted to talk about.
That's all-
today.
Yeah, that was it. It was,
It was
just
We're ending on Tommy's story, all right?
It was just kind of the postcard thing. I expected that to take more than 2 minutes. Yeah, I had another thing. This podcast will come out slightly after New Year's Eve, but it's still pretty relevant at this point in time. That should be about a week post New Year's Eve. I just kind of was curious what everyone that lifts pretty seriously, and I know everyone sitting around this table are generally pretty motivated individuals. So I wondered how
and handsome.
And handsome as shit. But I just wondered what everyone's view on New Year's resolutions is generally, like what you think of them if you utilize those to motivate your life.
I've always just wondered why someone needs someone like a new year for them to actually get motivated about something. I would say if you're motivated and wanted to get something done, you wouldn't wait for the fact that there needs to be a new year for that to happen. You would just well, Monday's as good as any day to start. Why does it need to be 2017? That's kind of my thoughts on it.
I kind of agree. I think, sometimes just a hard, fast deadline is good for you anyways. Like, all right, well, fucking first of the year. 2017 is going to be my fucking year. It's going to happen. I guess that works. I haven't had to deal with much of the crazy. You guys probably had more in, at the other gym, and I don't know where what you deal with all the crazy New Year's resolutioners piling into the place. But what type of fall off do you normally see? Is it's a madhouse for how many weeks?
I'd say about a month.
About one.
Usually.
I was gonna say I remember about 3 weeks. It felt like right in there.
Brian, you managed a gym, so you would know as well as any.
Yeah, it's you maybe get a shoot. Sometimes you only get a couple weeks out of some of the guys, but they'll tend to 3-4 weeks. But by end of February, it's the same old guys that were there.
Yeah,
the last 5 years.
Although they do, we had year memberships, so they do like to pop in about late April, right before it gets warm, because you get that little. I'm gonna go shirtless this year.
That works though, right? Like if you just work out for a week or so, you get quite a bit out of that. Results wise.
I recommend it for most people.
You don't want to do it like too long.
Yeah. I would say that it's probably, I don't say wouldn't think it's a bad thing, but kind of like Austin said, like, well, fucking maybe tomorrow would be a better day than waiting for the first. But definitely, if it's September and you're trying to do some fitness things or trying to fucking, change whatever direction you're on, maybe don't wait till January. You know what I mean? Like if you had this inclination in September, maybe October would be a good place to start.
See, and I think that's the problem people have is they don't have that thought in September. They have it, everyone's trying to reflect around the New Year's, and then the holiday comes around and everybody eats too much and drinks, and but a lot of it's just that I think there's this self-reflection that happens during the holidays, and you just start thinking, what am I doing with my life? I've got to start taking care of myself. And unfortunately that they fall off because that doesn't get you anywhere motivation-wise.
Yeah.
It's just feeling guilty and you just kind of fizzle out.
That's one of the things I heard. It was I don't know if you guys ever listened to the Jocko podcast. Have you ever heard that? Highly recommend it. Dude's a for real badass, but one of the
second best podcast out there.
I would say for sure. Definitely not the strongest podcast because that title's taken.
A distant second.
Distant
second.
I would
assume.
But it's really one of the things he always talks about is that motivation and inspiration, all that crap only gets you so far, and at some point you have to learn discipline. And if you're not going to actually have the discipline to get yourself there 4, 5, 6 days a week forever, then you're just, it's never gonna get you can be motivated for a month, you can be inspired to get out of bed early one day, but it's just not going to hang over the long term. The other thing I had noticed, and I kind of stuck with this before too, was people will set these goals like, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to lose 30 pounds, or I want to be able to bench, I don't know how much Tommy bench, 1,000 pounds like Tommy DeFay.
Yeah.
One of the things what causes most people to fall off of that is that they're setting this high target that doesn't actually consist of any of the work involved in getting you to that target. So if you're going to set some sort of a target to, if you want to lose 25 pounds, spell out the actual work that's involved in losing 25 pounds. So it's like, I need to make it to the gym 3 to 4 days a week. I need to eat good 80% of my meals. So 5 days a week for sure. I got to be on point nutritionally. So start with that and start checking those off. And the weight and the pounds are going to turn into whatever they turn into. But you can't control the pounds. You can sure as shit control what you do.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's like you need all those small goals. And when you guys set all those small goals, that ultimate reach to your big goal.
Definitely.
One thing I do like doing more with the end of the year,
partying.
It's like
raging.
Every weekend is a party. Like, am I in heaven? No. I do like it as more of kind of a time of reflection, where you can go back and see, evaluate your year. Like, what did I do this year? What didn't I do? What could I have done better? What went better than I thought? And I think that is kind of a nice time to kind of do a summary and look back and evaluate what went well, what could have went better, and all that stuff.
What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Where you dropped the ball?
Yep.
why your wife still hates you. You know, all those
why
things.
I can't get along with my family.
I really agree with what Austin said. Sums up my opinion almost exactly. That it's just my mentality personally. If I'm thinking about doing it on December 29th, if the idea pops into my head and I know that I'm going to get serious about it, I'm not going to wait 2 days even. I'm like, if I'm not going to be motivated enough internally to start it today, like, I just don't believe in using a date. I just don't think that's ever going to be a lasting form of motivation to drive somebody. And that's kind of what you said, and I agree with that. And then also, if you're listening to this, just within a couple days, we had the article come out that you wrote it's just what you do, and that's all a little bit related to that too. And you could talk about the article better, but I really like that article also because that fits in with my mentality perfectly too, as to why I'm not that big on like a New Year's resolution, because I think it should just be, it just has to be what you do.
Yeah. I mean, the two key things to take away from that article are, two words I use are consistency and duration. Like, you have to be consistent, and it has to be of a long enough duration, and that's really what matters in the grand scheme of things, is being able to motivate yourself for a long time. Like, Brian and I were just having a conversation earlier today, and people asking like, well, what did you do to get to where you're at, for your, the goals you have reached and the, the progress that you've made so far. And Brian and I were like, well, we've just been at it for like 10 years. Like, you just got to put in your dues. Like, it takes time. It takes that, that duration and that consistency, like I said.
The sad thing is nobody wants to hear that. So you say that and you get the glazed over look from the well,
that's a terrible response to hear.
Wait, you mean I gotta work hard for like a long time, often?
You sure they just don't sell it at GNC? Yeah. I mean, that's where the thing comes in. It's like, it is a long time, and so you've got to start making these small lifestyle changes now. There's always little things that you can control, little things you can add, 2-3 times a week, like you said, that they get you down that road. And then all of a sudden you're 2 years down the road and you're 5 years down the road, and you may not be perfect, but you're going to be a heck of a lot better off than where you are right now, as long as you just get started. Mm-hmm. And, like I said, the motivation's there, the guilt is there. They want to start. New Year's gives them a hard date, but it also sets them all up to failure, because that's what you hear. Oh, what's the goal? 30 pounds this year. What's the goal? This, that. And it's all conspiring against them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just start new things every year just because I hate myself every year. So, let's try to think of when this is going to come out. This will be just short of the new, or just after the new year. I did get a pretty sweet Christmas present this year. I got myself a big old Prowler sled.
I thought for sure it'd be something related to the bathroom.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
The bidets are still there.
Okay.
So I got this, I don't know, it's the heaviest fucking Prowler I've seen. What's the one we have down at the gym, Tanner? Maybe, I don't know what it weighs, but it's not this much.
Yeah.
This thing's like 100, 115 pounds unloaded, and it's fucking just stout. And after having Julian on the podcast, I decided that I'm definitely probably going to end up throwing up all over this sled once the weather gets nice. I don't care what he says. I'm not doing that shit in the winter.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to the Julian podcast, you should go back.
You definitely
and check
should
that
go
out.
back, finish this
Good
one
stuff.
out, because I'm sure this one's a real home run.
It only gets better for
but
me.
definitely check out Julian's episode. It'll be the one right before this. It's Julian's the shit. He definitely makes a guy want to definitely get after it. But no, the sled's something he uses a lot just to teach kind of intensity and pain tolerance and that type of stuff. And that's the thing that I usually suck at the most. So that's going to be a thing I'm going to suffer on a lot. And my wife bought it for me too, so I know she's going to be laughing.
That's a pretty sweet. I mean, did she do that without you hinting or telling her that?
I pretty much, I'm not hinting that I want it for Christmas, but if I see something and I want it, I pretty much bitch about it until I get it, until she allows me to buy it. So this time she just bought it. So She didn't give me permission to buy this one. She just bought this one. So, yeah, it's pretty sweet. But what other, like, did you guys get any other lifting or fitness gifts? Usually, like, if you're a guy that lifts, that becomes what is an easy gift to get you. You know what I mean?
For mostly any guy, I think you get categorized into a couple things. Like if you lift, you get, everyone knows you get lifting things,
or hunting, or golfing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the easy one to go to, and it's always appreciated.
No,
I would much rather have lifting or fitness stuff than most other things, for sure. That and booze. I was about 50-50 fitness and booze. They know where my priorities are.
Build you up and tear you down.
That's right. But did you guys get anything cool this year?
I had, not directly fitness related, but I had made some mentions of wanting a standing desk, and I was pleasantly surprised with the standing desk. And we talk about long hours of working on Massenomics things, and after being in an office all day sitting, it's really hard to be motivated to go home and sit down for 3 more hours or 2 more, whatever it is, hour, 2 hours just to work on anything. So I've only got to use it a few times since it is relatively new, but I have been like really, it makes it much easier to get into work. Whereas before it's like, all right, here we go. And you kind of it's like you just go in and you can kind of like shift your weight. You can move around. You feel like your mind feels more nimble. It might sound dumb, but like that really is kind of how you feel. So I've really enjoyed it so far.
Do you think you'll ever switch back, or do you think you'll be a standing
Well,
desk man?
The nice thing about this one is it has buttons, so you can push it and it lowers for you right to this height. So it's like, like yesterday, for example, I was using it, and after about 2 hours, I was very tired of standing, and it was getting close to 10 o'clock. And so I put it down for like the last 20 minutes. I sat, and I was like, this is really nice.
Are you going to buy a treadmill to put in front of that at some point? Get a little extra cardio?
I just know I would start sweating so bad with that amount of walking going on, and that wouldn't work for me. So I can sit that one out.
Do you think you would ever transition to that at work?
I would love to.
Except you get made fun of by everyone at your work for a while.
No, I think it'd be more like having to deal with questions nonstop for like a week.
Yeah.
But then
sure.
I would say that
all the people.
It'd be like, it'd just be things like standing. Yep.
People would just walk by and nod, but standing.
Yeah.
It's
the same thing. Like I've never put my hair up at work just because like it's wet in the morning, and I have a thing where I don't put my hair up when it's wet. I want it to dry off. And I just know that the day I put my hair up, it's going to be so many people. Oh, hair's up. Haircut, huh? Like, things like that are, got your ears lowered. No, like, just
got them all cut.
Yeah, or my daughter's got hair like that. It'd be things like that, like nonstop. And I just don't want to have that conversation. So that one hasn't happened yet either. But at work, I would love to make it happen at the standing desk. But with our desk setups, it's kind of like a weird cubicle pod type thing, and they're not really. I don't know. I think it'd be a really big act to try and get it cleared to remove that. So I don't know. Maybe someday.
We've got them at my work, and so there's days I can stand all day, and it's everybody in my area's got them, but. Only about 2 of us ever are standing up, and that's what happens. Everybody walks up. Boy, you're sure standing a lot. You stand all day, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you're a fan then too?
Love it. Yeah, love it. They're expensive. I mean, but it was a really nice deal, and just to have that choice, and it's
yours adjusts up and down.
Yep.
And also
Just a lever, you push it and goes where you want it to go, real easy, but. Just to have that ability, like I hurt my back about a month ago, kind of tweaked it, and just the ability to be able to stand all day and not have to sit on that sciatic nerve was great,
And that's what I've been noticing is I feel like I've been getting just tighter in my hips lately. Kind of, it feels like out of nowhere, but at the same time, you think it's like just being bolted to a seat all day. Like, why wouldn't your hips be tight? Like you're not moving, you're not getting any type of like mobility or anything in there. So. Yeah, it makes total sense.
I've battled with that hip
tightness
for a long time, and I've thought about standing desk at work, and I think I will eventually have to try that. I just feel like it would have to help. When you sit there for a long period of time, you can just feel it in your hips even.
Well, it's like people complain about going on an 8-hour car ride, but you're expected to basically sit in the seat for 8 hours a day, and it's just it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you rode in a car for for 8 hours every day.
People
And
be like,
only
"Oh,
got a
that's
half-hour
terrible."
break. They'd be
It's
"That
like,
is the
oh,
worst."
like you go on a road trip. Someone's like, "How long was it?" And anytime you say anything over 4, like, "Oh, that sounds terrible." It's like, well, I do that every day at work. Like, no one's complaining about that.
I guess on that note, I'm in the middle of a little bit of an experiment at home as well.
I thought you lost a bet, Ty.
No, I did not. And the problem was this was actually my idea. To go ahead and do this. My wife was like, "We're not fucking doing that." And I was like, "Well." So anyway, I find myself all the time sitting on my floor in my family room because basically I have a really nice, really comfortable recliner that I spent a lot of money on, and it's very cozy. But if I come home at the end of the day and I sit in it, it just like, sucks you in. I always feel like I'm kind of in this slouched position, and even when I'm laid back, you just like turn to shit. So I got the bright idea to, after seeing that that's a thing that people do, to just remove the chairs and sofas from my living room and just sit on the floor. That on its own is not that bad because for the last couple months, most of the time I'll sit on the floor anyways, but there's just all this furniture in the way, so it limits my space.
So when you sit on the floor, like, are we like Indian style cross-legged?
Sometimes,
really?
a lot of the times, it's just laying down.
Okay.
Or I'll lay, but because you're on the floor, you're inherently more active. So
is it possible to like sit up, just sitting there?
So here, that's
wrap my head around this.
that's the thing that I'm learning that I'm not capable of right now.
Like, I'm
Just
never
like
take
sitting
your,
up without
sit
leaning
upright.
back against something.
And
I
here-
gotta take your word for it. I still don't see how this works out.
Here's the part that's even worse, though. Like, that was all it was going to be. It was just going to be the family room, which is where you spend most of your time, so you watch TV, But then I was like, well, I got a low, like, coffee table, and we can do that with the dining room, too. And that was the worst fucking idea. I'm only 3 days in or whatever, and eating is the fucking worst.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be like...
Because, well, no, you can sit. You should be able to, I think,
I don't know.
sit down and sit upright like a human. You know what I mean? And you should be able to eat food that's at belly button height, normal. But I fucking can't, and I fucking hate it. The dining room thing is the worst.
I don't think normal humans are 6'8". I don't know.
That's the other thing about this that makes it worse. I think that portion of it's definitely worse because I'm a giant person, but it's also the reason why I think my couches aren't that appealing to me either, because I can never nap in them because I can't stretch out. But
You need to perfect the third world squat. Have you ever heard of that?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting pretty good at it.
Do you find yourself leaning on your kickstands a lot?
Yes. I also, but the thing I do find that is probably beneficial is
Kickstand.
the old kickstand.
That in basic training, you're not allowed to. You have to. There's a lot of times you have to sit like what you're talking, like Indian style or whatever. And I remember being yelled at a lot of times, like, "Get off your kickstands, Kawasaki."
But I find myself in the living room a lot though now, which is probably a good thing, where I'll sit there and just kind of like lean against your range of motion, I'll just hop up on my knees and like stretch my hips out a little bit. And I think, if nothing else, if a guy has furniture in your living room, which most people are gonna do,
If a guy has furniture.
maybe just
If
like
you can afford these luxuries.
maybe just do that for 15 to 20 minutes a day, on your own. You'll probably be better off. But anyway, I'm sticking this through because it was my idea, good or bad, and I'm doing it for 30 days. And but there's no fucking way. I firmly believe that I may leave the family room as it is, because I normally am on the floor there. I have furniture in my house. Okay. Like, I'm not a homeless
right
person. There's furniture all over the place. They're just not in that room right now. But there is absolutely no way that I could eat like that. Come down in the morning, you're tired, you get yourself something to drink, make a nice fucking omelet. You get ready to eat a nice big hearty breakfast, then you got to go sit on a fucking pillow and lean over a coffee table. Sucks. That's not sustainable for me at all. But yeah, so that's what's going on in the Stone household. We're eating like homeless people.
Did either of you guys get anything fitness related? I mean, new pair of Zuba pants? Or...
No,
shake
no.
weight or...
No shake weight. I mostly got tools because I recently purchased a house or a duplex, so
Doing man stuff.
Yeah, just doing man things. So
Wait.
I'm building up my forearms with the tools. That's my fitness stuff.
Wrenching.
Yep, turning wrenches.
So no swimming pool anymore?
No swimming pool. No.
Fuck. Is there a public pool nearby that we can drink at when we go visit?
I don't think so. Honestly, we're shit out of luck there.
We're never gonna go see Austin again.
I got my wife a Concept 2 rower.
I saw that.
She was after a rower, and I also didn't.
You weren't too opposed.
Yeah,
against
so
it?
it was a kind of a win-win situation.
Have you?
One of those self-serving gifts.
But it really was a good one because she really wanted it and had brought it up a few times.
And
so,
you will use it as much or more than she
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably the same thing my wife did with that sled.
Yeah.
She will definitely probably use it.
Those really are the best gifts, though. Like what? I mean.
Yeah. So has she used it yet?
Yeah.
Had she used them before? I know you had used mine and a couple others.
When she used to go to a different gym, she really
them.
liked rowing, so
Gotcha.
that was, and I'm not sure if it was a Concept.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Model D rower, which seems to be
The gold standard.
Yeah, kind of the gold standard. They've become. Which also, if you want to buy a used one, good luck. That just doesn't exist because every CrossFit gym in the country
We'll buy them
has
immediately.
You
them.
would still
So,
think with how CrossFit has rowers that they would just be like burning through rowers. Like,
I don't know.
Here's what I think the rowers, I don't think they break that often. I don't think they cause too much
it
trouble.
still seems like it's one of those things though. It's like, well, we haven't bought new equipment for a year or two. Like, let's upgrade
Yeah.
our rowers because they get
Yeah.
so much use.
But usually they're so expensive that if they're not
Yeah.
broken,
Yeah,
you're
I
not going to
suppose,
spend
yeah.
$1,000 on one. But the what I have found, and these definitely are not a sponsor of the show, is that the Assault brand bikes, pieces of shit.
really.
They're fucking garbage. And I we bought a few at our gym.
do they have a weight capacity though?
Well, I'm definitely over it. I know that. But like, so we started using them, and they fucking come apart. Shit's coming loose on them all the time, like constantly. Like you can't get through a workout without having to like tighten things.
And are those the actual ones? Like
Those are
Concept
the-
is with CrossFit. Like
Yep, and the Assault air
is
bike.
the standard.
Yeah, and
So is the old Schwinn Airdyne? Is that a better bike?
no,
that's
legitimately,
what people use.
legitimately,
like,
I would buy. If I may possibly open a CrossFit gym soon, I would definitely be buying Schwinn Airdynes and
Yeah.
just adapting. Some of the scales as far as calories to distance is a little bit off, but it'll at least be that one standard.
Schwinn Airdynes used are actually hard to find and
they
relatively expensive
hold-
because
Really?
of CrossFit
They,
too. Yeah,
they really hold their value.
Yeah, big time.
You
Especially
can
if
spend
you get
$300 or $400 on one.
if you have one
still.
with a more current monitor, then it's just as valuable as like almost an assault bike.
Haven't
I guess.
those things been around for like 4 decades? Yeah, like
And they've come back.
We used to
like,
use them when I was in high school as like a form of punishment.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
my 85-year-old grandfather has one in his office that I know he doesn't use, and I hint around about it a little bit, and I just keep getting shut down immediately when I bring it up, and it drives me nuts. But no, so these assault bikes, so I started looking into it. Some like CrossFit affiliate owners that have bought them, and a couple people that I have seen have said basically that like they've spent more money on repairing them and new parts than they spent on the bikes to begin with.
And
they're
what's an
fucking
assault bike? Couple grand or
no, they're like $900.
Oh, okay. So about the same as a rower or similar.
Yeah, but yeah, they're just dog shit. I mean, we just bought 3 and they are barely hanging on. Like if I'm going max out on one for 20 or 30 seconds, like I would not be surprised if I can just bend the steel on it.
I have seen Tyler use the assault bike before, and it's
a violent thing.
yeah. I mean, it's impressive if they don't break. I would say like.
Here's the deal with the assault bike. You either go, well, it depends on what you're doing, but if you're putting out like calories or like 30 or less, you just have to go as hard as you possibly fucking can and get it over with fast. Because I can do like 20 calories in like 16 seconds. But if you fiddle fuck around, if you shave like 20% off of that effort, it'll take you a minute. And you will suffer that whole minute. So it's best to just blow it out and then rest for 45 seconds before you do something else. You'll be just as far ahead. But no, so the rowers, like I said, I think they hold up pretty well. I don't think in 2 years we haven't broken one. Mine at home hasn't broke. But them bikes just fucking rattle apart. And I'm sure people go hard on them, but I can tell you, I certainly wouldn't buy one. That's for sure. That's the official Massenomics position until
The endorsement.
until Assault starts sending us bikes.
Then they're pretty sweet.
Then they'll be the best. Until they come out with a big man edition.
Big and tall.
The big and tall, the husky, called husky.
Well, could we do what's in my sack, or?
We might as well see what's in your sack, Tanner.
All right.
Today's special edition of What's in Tanner's Sack is brought to you by Apple.
That's not true.
But it could be.
It's actually
Just
brought
get-
to you
get at
by.
us.
You traditionally you have to close your eyes, and I put the contents of my sack into your hands. But Brian, I don't have enough.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I don't have enough in my sack to put some in your
Did I
hands.
lose?
But Tyler and Tommy and Austin, you can all close your
Close
eyes.
your
and
eyes.
I'll
Alright.
empty the contents of my sack into your palms.
It's like Christmas all over
And
again.
don't open them once. You have to kind of guess what it is.
It's like summer camp.
Yep.
What the hell kind of summer camp did you go
All right,
to?
it's all
Catholic
in your
school.
hands. Does anyone know what it? You can lick it, or anything?
Definitely
It
feels
smells-
like
Box of
Smells
sorts.
Rocks.
aromatic.
Is this can I make a guess?
Yeah, you can.
My eyes are open.
I think I know.
All right.
I think it's soap.
Yes, it is soap.
This is Power Clean soap. Soap for athletes. What do we got here? The ingredients are all.
What do these words mean?
So what? I got
So-
lemongrass tea.
So it's Power Clean soap is the soap that we got here, and these were complimentary of the team over at Power Clean Soap. They actually sent us a letter. The first line is, "Hey, Massenomics dudes."
I feel like something like this is too nice for me to be holding. Like
It's like too
my
nice to be
mother-
wiping
my
on your
mother
dirty
would be like,
body.
put that down. That's not the soap we use. That's you just leave that in the tray for
decorative
company.
soap.
That's for looking.
That's the decorative soap.
But yeah, so this episode of the podcast is probably not sponsored by Apple. It's sponsored by Power Clean Soap.
Until Apple starts sending us
Yeah,
some shit.
like some iPhones and soap.
The first ingredient appears to be saponified oils. I'm a big fan of that. Big fan of saponified oils.
Is that your favorite kind of oils?
Yeah.
You all have a different flavor there.
Is it a flavor or a scent? I suppose they do
I
taste
I kind of had
differently.
the after the lemon one, the feeling to chew on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But their advice for us is they just wanted us all to try these out and see what I
at
think.
the same time, or
Like together. you
It
know.
is for external use only, though. So
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
So I've been using mine. I suppose I can wait till we've all used it and get our collective opinions, but I'll just tease you that I like it. Do any of you use bar soap? I wasn't. I
I'm a
hadn't
big
been,
bar soap
and I
fan.
got into it now, and I think I'll probably stick with bar
I
soap.
actually used to be a big bar soap
Yeah.
guy, and then I went away from it. But
Yeah,
Then you drop the soap a couple times, and now you're not a
There's
fan.
a few incidences.
you'll have to use this and see what your opinion is on bar
Okay.
soap after using it for a while.
Dibs on the lemongrass tea.
Yeah, we got lemongrass, coffee bar, and oatmeal and spice, which smells exactly like the oatmeal and spice.
Are
I eat in
you
the
sure you're
morning.
not supposed to eat this stuff?
And then cool peppermint is the kind that I've been using at home, and the cool peppermint is kind of they said it's their signature.
I do like a good
Does
a
it
good
make you-
mint soap.
No, it gives you a in
cool.
quotations York peppermint patty sensation.
Okay.
I didn't
Does it
realize
make you
that.
feel all tingly?
Yeah, like there is a bit of a York peppermint patty sensation. I would say that's a fair description. The lemongrass tea, which Tyler has, is a very citrusy bar.
I do like how that one smells.
Yeah, I
Smells
kind of
quite
like
fresh.
I liked that one too. I'm not sure about the coffee and the oatmeal and spice. That's a little bit different than I'm used to. You know, it's different than your typical soapy
Yeah.
scent, I think. What is the coffee one brown or is it like a
No,
tan?
it's like there's.
Oh, okay. It's
Kind of looks
there may
like
be specks
cookies
of-
and cream.
There may be specks of coffee in there, right?
but they,
Yeah, no, literally, there's ground coffee in the
the
ingredients.
little specks you see in the bar are ground organic coffee beans, and the smell of the bar is pure manliness. It has a very earthy smell that will make you want to strap on the chainsaw or axe and bust into some wood.
Pure manliness. Strap on, bust into the wood.
You said all I need to hear.
Oatmeal spice. It just smells like Christmas. Nuff said. So now you kind of know about the different
Now
ones.
we know.
So yeah, we'll all try those out. I
Power
guess.
Clean Soap. Get yourself some.
And those were freebies, so we're starting to rake it in here at the Massenomics podcast. If
Yeah.
anyone else out there wants to send us,
If you want to send us free
stuff,
shit, email us at what's the email address? Getbig@massenomics.com.
Yep,
We'll gladly talk about the shit that was free and use it.
we'll use it.
Give a brutally honest review of our
Yeah.
opinion.
Also, if you'd like to send us money, we'll
We'll use that too.
We'll use
We'll
that
give
too.
you our opinion of that and how we liked it.
You can send us Christmas cards year round too. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have birthdays and stuff, so you could just guess whose birthday it is and send us money. Is that it for the sack?
Yeah, that's I completely exhausted my sack. So
Empty the sack. All
Yep.
right.
One of the things that's come out recently that I have really thoroughly enjoyed was the Eddie Hall documentary on Netflix,
Yes.
which I don't know how long that was in the making, but I definitely
I think it was about 2 years, wasn't it?
but I definitely didn't hear about it at all.
No,
Like,
I didn't.
it
either.
wasn't on my radar as something that was coming out. It wasn't in the front of my mind. And out of nowhere, it was, oh shit, this Eddie Hall documentary's on Netflix. It's like, oh fucking yeah.
Which initially made me think like this is something they scrapped together in the last 3 months, and it would be kind of a hack job. But
Yeah.
it was really good.
And really, really thorough. Like it was over a couple years.
Yep.
The only thing that I was a little, it's not the movie's fault, but I was told it was like started, a couple years ago and went up until he set the deadlift world record.
500 kilograms.
That's what I thought it was, but it actually was the summer before that when he
His
broke the
previous world
first
record.
world record one. So I was thinking when at the beginning when they were showing when he kind of wasn't that well known early on in the movie, I was like, no shit, this is gonna cover from here until. And now, right after he set that deadlift record, was kind of the end. Spoiler alert: the end of that documentary. He has blown up even more since then, but. Yeah, it's really cool. Eddie Hall's been a guy I've kind of been a fan of, but not really didn't have a big, huge understanding of what he was actually like. And that was a fucking badass documentary. I mean,
It was really good. Everyone I've talked to has the same opinion after watching it. Like everyone's like, I am a big fan of Eddie Hall now. Like it's hard not to like him after seeing his persona in there.
And I was just telling Tanner tonight, I was saying, I got done watching it, and it was about 11 at night, and I was like so fired up. I had to take like an hour before I could even fall asleep because I just wanted to like go lift weights.
Yeah,
And
if that doesn't make you want to hit a big deadlift, nothing would.
yeah, it was really good. The other thing that was interesting is I didn't realize how much of a abrasive badass he was too.
Flipping the bird in the middle
flipping
of
people
competition.
off mid competition.
he's a showman.
Yeah. It's not an act with him though either. He's
No.
it really feels like that's what is.
But I assumed what I thought was cool about the documentary is I kind of assumed he was like that all the time, like this total asshole. But you see, like he is a legit family man. Like he's a regular person. He has things he cares about and
No,
emotions.
I did have a little bit of confusion because in the beginning, when he basically wasn't that making very much money, and that was kind of the point of early in the documentary, was it was kind of a little apartment and the kid and all this stuff. He doesn't
Bentley.
make much money, and then his wife just drives up in a fucking $275,000 car.
So my two thoughts on that were, one, like maybe it's one of those things because can't you buy like kits that make a car look like something that it's not?
I don't
'Cause
know. Maybe it's an old shitty Bentley.
That was my
I don't
first
know.
guess, and then I was like, maybe they live in England, so they get the England discount
Are,
on it.
Are Bentleys cheap there? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But that was the only hole I could shoot in that documentary. But it was good. It's on Netflix. Check it out for sure.
Yeah, that was my only thing that I disappointed is that it didn't go far, more current.
Yeah.
But for the amount of time it takes to make a documentary, obviously, that's
Yeah.
the way it's going to be.
It was kind of interesting. We watched that, and then I actually watched that like as I was trying to go to bed, and so that didn't happen. Just like Tommy, I was up for a while, and then there a lot of those were covering the Arnold strongman events and stuff, and we were all pretty jazzed up then about fuck yeah, I can't wait to go to the Arnold. My wife was like, we should watch that Pumping Iron documentary. so the next night I got to watch Pumping Iron too, which was great.
Had she seen it before?
Yes, she had.
Okay.
But I usually every time I ask about it, she's like, again.
But that's what I was gonna say. Is I can't, and I haven't watched a ton of like strength training documentaries, but to me, this is the newest, like the new pumping iron in the way that it follows one guy on kind of his quest to break these records.
And it should get you pretty jacked up to watch, kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have like the same 70s weird porno music playing the whole time, but besides that, it was pretty good.
Doesn't have Arnold like making things unreasonably sexual out of the blue.
Pumping iron is one of the requirements for joining Massenomics Gym is watching pumping iron, and I think the Eddie Hall documentary might have to join that.
On that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a prerequisite for membership.
Well, Kendall who was a recent joined member. We had kind of been joking that to him, and he came back and he's like, "Oh, I watched Pumping Iron."
Because I was talking about it at work a while ago, and he was kind of like listening. So yeah, I didn't know he listened to it, or he'd watch it yet.
Yeah. So you guys, Austin and Brian, you both lifted in the gym before. Brian, you'd never been there before. What were your guys' opinions? Was there any new toys there that you hadn't used since last time you'd been back? Or did you get to use anything that caught your fancy?
Man, I think everything that since I was there in August, I don't think you guys have gotten any new stuff since August really. Those round dumbbells or whatever the hell they were. What are those called? The fat bells. Those were in. I didn't know what the hell to do with them though, so I didn't use them.
Brian?
Well, I was telling him it was I almost wanted to cry. It was so beautiful. I hadn't lifted in the gym like that for quite some time, but no, I think I bust out about every specialty bar I could just because I don't have.
There's a couple of them.
We did 2 hours. I did 2 hours of back yesterday just to try everything out, and
it's like, how can I incorporate all these different bars?
Yeah. No, it's great though. It was a good time.
Did you use the bow bar at all, Austin? I know you had mentioned that one. when I showed you that, you were kind of interested.
Oh, I did actually. That was the first time I had used that. I did some bench press with it, and I like that little extra range of motion that you get there, and that was an interesting one. I kind of feel Brian's sentiments that I'm kind of sad every time I got to leave that I don't get to lift in that gym, and I got to go back to this stupid Y where I'm at. They have one shitty rack. And, it's at least I can deadlift there, but God, it's depressing. It's going to be even more depressing when January 1st rolls around and fighting idiots for equipment.
The shower could use a little work, though.
Did you guys try the shower?
Yeah, I think
the shower gets lots of work.
I got up to about 40 degrees there. I think that's where it peaked out.
I think the hot water heater is 10 gallons. So if you
if someone else showered that day, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
It's I just figured it was by design for the testosterone-inducing rush you get from it.
It doesn't get used a whole lot, so pleased to know that it did get used.
I have been finding like if I go there on like a between day, I'll just go there to like lift. That's when I'll go and just do like I'm gonna do arms and stuff, and just use
check out the shower
and just use like all of the toys.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I do is like, well, what do I want to play with today? I'm gonna just make sure I do curls and triceps, and then I'm gonna use whatever fucking specialty bars I feel like doing, and with no purpose. I just use them for fun. But it's been nice because it's been keeping things interesting.
I was a little disappointed there. Sky was there, and I had never met him before, and he had never met me before, obviously. And I got there, and he's like, "Oh, are you thinking about joining the gym?" And I'm like, "He has no idea. I'm Professor Schanz. This is a travesty. I need to get my face out there more often, I guess."
We need to get like cartoon caricatures of each other, and then that's what we'll put on that's what we'll stamp on each article.
Yep.
What else we got, guys? That's all I got. Tanner, you're the one who came prepared.
Yeah, I do have some other stuff. Let me look real quick here and see if there's anything that I want to bust out today, or if it's worth saving here for next time. One thing I was going to mention is, I don't know if any of you watched the World's Strongest Man at all, 2016 World's Strongest Man, but their coverage, like the ability to watch World's Strongest Man, is just fucking terrible.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Like, it's just there's not a ton of strongman fans in the world. I'm one of them.
So let's just shit all over them.
I want to watch it, and I can't figure out how to watch it. Like where I go, or what I have to do to watch it. So is
it,
that a good
it's not
thing?
out yet, is it?
No, it's all out. The finals is Christmas Day.
I watched the finals on Christmas Day. My parents were like, turn the channel, whatever. And I'm like, oh, what
They
is this
started
gonna be?
releasing the heats Thanksgiving Day, and they finished with the finals Christmas Day, and it's on like CBS Sports Network.
Yeah.
And
Do they have an app or anything?
they have an app on the
Yes.
Roku that I downloaded, and it's like there's no. Hopefully I'm wrong, and someone can tell me there's an easy way for me to go watch it because I would really like to watch it, and I can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
Eventually, someone will put it
Plus
on
it's-
YouTube,
plus
like a
it's-
shitty version of it, and
Yeah.
I'll probably watch that.
Right.
But
And they like, I don't understand it because didn't it happen in like
months ago,
August?
which is also another terrible.
It
Like
happened-
everyone knows
yeah.
what
It
happened.
was in
if you want
Botswana.
to.
Well, one of these years, people will figure out how to broadcast sports live, and we're not there yet. But when that time comes,
CrossFit is way ahead of the game relative to Strongman on how they cover theirs. At least
Well,
you can see
They'll
what's going on.
they'll do the live stream on YouTube, and everything that basically ESPN wants to air live, they can. Everything else goes to YouTube. So they constantly have the live coverage of everything, and it does get boring. Like during all the heats and stuff, that can get a little bit boring. But you can always catch the last couple heats.
I think I
where
remember
where the real aces are going, and that's usually what ESPN will have. And then the final, it'll be on ESPN. So the final event where everything's, and then they'll do like a kind of a condensed version of all the shit that matters. They'll condense it down to like 3 hours, and they'll air that like the next week off and on. And there's no reason they couldn't do that with the strongman stuff. Roll it live and then give us the 1 hour version like the shit you used to see when you were a kid.
Yeah. It's like such the old school kind of distribution model, though. Of I'm sure they signed some contract and they have the exclusive with it where they can only CBS, whatever owns the rights to it, they can't broadcast, can't be redistributed in any way, and all it does is just screw over fans or people that might be interested in it, and to getting exposure for them. And
One of the
front of more
things that
faces.
they talked about in that Eddie Hall documentary was that, like, while you think that some of those guys are big and important and famous, like, there's no money in that sport. There's absolutely none. So, like, being the strongest men at this point, probably like in the history of the world, doesn't pay shit, and it's just not marketable enough to get any coverage.
A few of those guys are getting some sponsorship.
They're getting sponsorship
But you
money.
essentially have to be in the top
sport,
five.
But
Yeah,
the
top
sport
five in the
itself, there's no money in. It's not like basketball where there's money in broadcasting it. There's money in this. There's money in that.
But the worst part of it, though, is that it is fun to watch. Like, I can totally see the argument for people aren't making money powerlifting, because a lot of stuff for powerlifting, it's not that exciting to watch. It's
Because there's only three things happening.
There's only 3 things happening. It's on kilo plates, so immediately people can't even figure out what's going on. And then, there's no head-to-head competition, really. It's your turn, my turn. It's essentially like watching someone take a test almost.
Yeah.
And so, with strongman, you get that competition factor where you can see guys perform. On any given day, someone could beat anyone else just with how they're going to perform on that day and how they can feed off the crowd and all that. So it is a fun thing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So do you suppose we could just buy that contract out from CBS?
Well, I feel like at this point we could do a better job than they're doing.
I honestly believe that if we had 5 cameras, we could probably do a better job than CBS is doing on that, for sure. At the very least, we'd it would be broadcast that day. There wouldn't be a 3-month delay.
Right.
Everybody knows who won.
Yeah, that's why that doesn't work. With
And
social media
so
now
what
and
they do
everything,
is
that
that
doesn't work.
they made the athletes sign an agreement to where they would, and all the crew to where nobody was going to disclose it. But everybody knew that day. Like that day, it was on Twitter. Everybody knew who won. And
It's not like some weird reality TV game show or anything. It's not The Bachelor. Come on, But do we want to talk about the results at all, the winners?
I haven't watched
Do
it
you
yet,
guys
so I
even
guess you
know?
can ruin it for me.
I only know who won. I haven't watched it.
Well, if you guys don't want me to ruin it, I won't say anything.
Well, Brian
Shaw won. We
Yeah,
know
I
that.
guess
four times.
The big, not Brian Shaw wins it, but the kind of the thing that's surprising though is it's pretty tight between first and second. Third isn't far off at all, and then after third, it's almost not even a competition anymore. Like it's especially like that 5th through 10th, like those guys almost don't even need to be there because they're hardly putting up points. So it just shows how first of all, to be considered a strongman, then a pro strongman, and then to be at the top, you're not even playing the same game as your competitors.
The top 4 aren't even playing the same game as the rest.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Brian Shaw, Hafthor, Bjornsson, Eddie Hall, and Zydrunas Zavickas. When he's healthy. Yeah. And this year there was this newer guy, this Janashia from it's not Turkey.
Is he that Polish guy?
No, it's I don't know if it's like Istanbul or it's something in there, but he, for being a new guy, he had a pretty solid showing too. But after that, you might as well not have been there because you didn't matter.
Brian, I guess as long as you're on the podcast, we could, it might not hurt to hear about what you've powerlifted before, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's been a little while, but I used to compete quite a bit.
What weight class were you? Was it raw?
Yeah, I did it was the 100% Raw Federation. It was still pretty new when I started off with it, but it's grown quite a bit now. But no, it was I competed at 181, and let's see, the last full meet that I did, I totaled just over 1,400 pounds and got an elite total. I think, gosh, it's been a while, but it was benching in the 360s, and my squat was somewhere in the 450s, and then the deadlift was around 585 or so. So
is deadlift your favorite lift?
Actually, squat is. It's probably my worst lift out of the 3, but it definitely goes squat, deadlift, and I hate bench, which is my best. It's my best lift, but it's just so boring. It's just. But then I just got too heavy. I couldn't cut down to that 181 weight class anymore, and it's tough. You jump up a weight class, and I just couldn't keep my lifts up where I wanted them to be. So once you're total elite in one weight class, aren't you just supposed to go total elite in the next?
Yeah, right.
It doesn't work that way, but.
How many years ago was that since you last competed? A couple, or?
Oh, let's see, 2 kids ago. So,
have you lost the baby weight yet?
Actually, I'm putting it on.
Would you? Do you have any thoughts of competing again anytime, or would you again, or what do you think about that?
I've gone back and forth. I think honestly, you do this for a long time and you train different ways, and I kind of want to do maybe some different things, maybe some strongman stuff. I'd like to do some Highland Games stuff at some point. I mean, unfortunately, those things are a lot harder to train for, especially at the, the cookie cutter gyms that I have to use. But, I think I still do the main power lifts all the time.
So that probably won't change.
No, it's just there. It's ingrained. It's just basically it's the first thing I do whenever I hit the gym is it's almost always one of those main lifts, and they're still up there pretty good, but I don't know, I think I just want to try something a little bit different just to keep it interesting and try something new.
If you want to check out Brian in action, Tanner and I always have a good chuckle about this, but we used to do some videos on a frequent basis, and we had Brian do one of Chico training that he was doing.
It's our most viewed video ever by at least double.
Which is very disappointing because it's really bad. It was an editing genius. I think it gets so many views because they see it and they just can't believe that someone posted that to watch it one more time.
It's like, they're doing it in an ironic way.
It does. It continually gets views all the time. I don't, it wouldn't have the heart to take it down.
Yeah, that is interesting because it does, as of right now, like just totally outperforms all of our other videos still.
I think it's the topic of shakeout training, or it's the pronunciation of that I struggle with every time. I never know for sure. But
I say it different every time, just so you're going to get it right a few times.
I just say it quickly and a little bit of a mumble. But yeah, I do think it's that top people. There's not a ton out there about, like, not a lot of easily.
No, there really wasn't.
So I think that's kind of why it's. If people are searching that pops up and they watch it and they're like, Yeah, I'd like to know more about this.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I did do quite a bit of research on it. The idea, everybody thinks, there's a bunch of templates out, and what I found is everybody just picks a template and does it in order. And it's the way he designed it is each workout is designed, basically for a specific person in a very specific part of their training cycle. And they weren't made to be just put in any, order. And you read a little bit about it and you understand, you take your strengths and your weaknesses and you find the template that's going to improve your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. And, it took a little bit of doing for me. I wasn't just going to follow, I don't remember the templates that everyone does, but there's 3 main ones that everyone kind of hits with a peak. So I think a lot of people do it wrong.
So at Westside Barbell, Louis Simmons says, you don't really train Westside Conjugate unless you're at Westside Barbell. Otherwise you're just doing some form of conjugate because you're not there doing what they do. Is that, if someone's not being trained by Boris Shakow, do you think they're not really getting the full effect of that training, or do you think someone that's educated enough on it could adapt it for themselves?
Well, I managed to adapt it. I'm not that smart. So, I mean, it took a little research, and I think, you probably need to be honest with yourself and, figure out which ones are going to make you do the stuff. But it is a balance. You got to find the ones that are going to make you hit your weaknesses, but you also have got to find the ones that are going to put you in the most success. For me, a lot of them, people look at them and they see tons of volume. Well, I'm not a big volume guy. I mean, I could handle high intensities, heavy weights, high frequency, but I knew that if I came into one workout and I pounded it and hit myself with 100 sets of 10, mm-hmm. I was dead. And I wasn't going to get anything out of me the rest of the weeks, or the rest of the days that week. So, I mean, you got to look at the different templates, and you can I think you can adjust it, if you read enough on it and really be honest with yourself and don't just look at the 3 main templates. I mean, they're numbered up to 40 something for a reason. I mean, there's a lot of different ones out there, but it takes a little time sometimes. You can't, it's not like you can just pick one up and go, or you could, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Trying to get into shakeout training would take a little more effort than say trying like 5-3-1. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, but you can pretty much read that book in 2 hours. And
you don't even need, you got an app now.
Yeah,
you just put your numbers into the app.
Yeah.
But it's any of these systems are gonna work as long as you believe in it and you're training hard, mm-hmm. and you're not being completely stupid.
Mm-hmm. I just feel bad for the guy that keeps looking up the Shakow training, and they keep pulling up. It's like, that idiot again with the cell phone camera and the beard. God, I just want to find a normal video of it.
Yeah, hopefully there's better resources out there on it than my video. There is somewhere.
Well, guys, Tanner, I'm going to give you this last opportunity to come up with anything else before we wrap up.
Yeah, I got other stuff. I'm just going to save it for next time.
Week?
Yeah.
All right.
So,
you're sure?
Yeah.
Because right when I start now is when you're going to start coming up with something.
There's kind of a thing where usually when Tyler tries to finish the podcast,
I'll literally be like, all right, make sure you go to the store, check out the Tanner's be like, all right, hold on. I forgot about this one thing.
No, we'll wait. We'll wait for this one.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Make sure you go to Massenomics.com. There you'll find our store. You can buy some sweet Massenomics. What do we got now? Shirts, hats. The numero uno Arnold-inspired shirt is there. Mm-hmm. Maybe by the time you hear this, some other new surprise goodies will be up there that we're not going to announce yet. Check it out. Scroll to the bottom of the page. You can find our newsletter there. Please sign up while you're at it. Facebook. Go to Facebook. Sign up there. Make sure you like the page. I was pointing at the people watching on video there. You guys like that? You guys, make sure you do that. Like our Facebook page. That's where we kind of do most of our, keeping you in the loop. I'm Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler Effin Stone. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone. Tommy?
You can find me on Instagram at Tomahawk_D.
You can just find me, just message on Facebook, Massenomics, or the getbig@massenomics.com email. I don't have anything cool yet, like the Instagram, sorry.
I was thinking you should maybe think about getting Instagram.
I mean, as the co-owner of an online business, maybe you should have some sort of online presence.
We could keep
how
up
the
on
kids-
your
You gotta start
lifting.
one.
Yeah, we could keep up on your lifting from a distance if you posted lifting videos every once in a while.
Nobody wants to see that patheticness.
That's how he can still keep his street cred up. It's all hidden.
It's like, you guys don't know what I really can do.
Brian, can we
you're on
have the
Instagram?
last 4 of your social security number or something?
Yeah, it's well, no, you can find me on one video on Massenomics website.
Our most viewed ever.
It's a fairly popular one.
He can be found at youtube.com/Massenomics. And there, just look for our introduction to Shaco training video.
Very basic introduction.
And share that to all your friends when you tell them about how great Massenomics
It's
is.
by far going to be our most viewed video now. It may go viral.
I bet if you're listening and you haven't watched it, you're pretty curious at this point. You're going to want to see it.
Tanner, how can the world find you?
I'm Tanner. You can check me out on Instagram @Massenomics. And just another comment I was going to say, when we're talking about the Facebook articles, even if, and you mentioned buying stuff on the website, even if you don't buy stuff on the website, if you could share it, if you actually like an article that we post, if you could literally share it on Facebook,
Or maybe engage in it. And stuff.
Yeah.
Click like.
I've had people go out of their way to talk to me in person about stuff, but can't say or comment anything.
I have had people come up to me and tell me about how much they like the articles in which we make,
And it's people that I don't even
and
really
yet
talk
I
to
have
sometimes.
never fucking seen them click like on an article. So I know that's where you're seeing it. Just click fucking like. That's all you got to do.
we are trying to get those out to more people.
Believe
so
it or not,
yeah.
we don't do it for nothing. Well, currently we are.
You're doing it for soap, is what.
believe it or not, we do it for nothing.
But seriously, if you could share it, like it for sure. That takes absolutely no effort. And then even if if you just wanted to do us a favor and you actually do like it, you could share it. And
Yeah,
that would
maybe
be
we'll
cool.
make a calendar or something for you someday.
Yeah.
The men of Massenomics. All right, that'll do it for us today, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening, and stay strong.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram @Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.